because everyone, always says, oh, the whole thing with JayZ.
Yeah, and everybody said that.
JayZ took her under his wing, and JayZ was going to make her a star. And then Rihanna came in, and then Teairra Mari was pushed to the side.
Well, actually, me and Rihanna, we were both signed. Well, I was signed by LA Reid. Rihanna was signed by JayZ. Well, by JayZ and Tata. And when my album was done, it was very urban. So he wanted to stamp it with the Rockefeller stamp.
You got dropped from Rockefeller, and you didn't really see it coming.
Right. I mean, no, I did not see it coming. I was getting ready for my prom, getting out the shower, and I got a call from Jay Brown, who works for JayZ, and he just told me, nice one, but I gotta let you go.
So if you ain't heard by now, Teairra Mari just dropped some shocking claims about JayZ, and trust me, it's not looking good. Sis spilled the beans on some wild things she says he did to her and Aaliyah, and let's just say the internet is in shambles. Like, what is even going on with these OGs in the industry? If you thought you knew everything about JayZ's past, think again. Teairra Mari. Alright, let's talk about Teairra Mari because her story is straight up wild, and not enough people give her the flowers she deserves. Like, do y'all remember how she was killing it for a minute? She was the princess of Rockefeller, had everything laid out for her, and then, bam, she's out. 1 minute she's living the dream, and the next, JayZ kicks her to the curb. Meanwhile, Rihanna, this fresh face from the islands, comes in and starts getting all the shine. And if JayZ and Beyonce think people forgot how that all went down, they've got another thing coming. Teairra Mari is still out here holding those grudges, and she's making it clear she hasn't let that go. There's even been talk that Beyonce felt like Teairra was a threat and might have had a hand in derailing her career. So what really went down between them? First, let's talk Teairra. Teairra's journey is a roller coaster of talent, success, and challenges. She's a singer, rapper, songwriter, dancer, and actress from Detroit who popped off in the mid-2000s. Fun fact, she was only 16 when JayZ discovered her, and LA Reid signed her to Rockefeller Records and Def Jam. She was really out here rubbing shoulders with the industry's biggest names from the jump. Teairra's grind started early, like 12 years old, recording music in her cousin's basement. That hustle paid off when Detroit's KISS Productions noticed her. Fast forward to 2005, she dropped her debut album, Rockefeller Records Presents Teairra Mari, and it made major waves. The album hit number 5 on the Billboard 200, and singles like Make Her Feel Good and No Daddy were straight up hits. She didn't stop there either. Over her career, she's dropped 1 studio album, 3 EPs, 11 singles, and a bunch of mixtapes where she's worked with heavyweights like Nicki Minaj and Gucci Mane. But despite all the promise, things got rocky. Teairra was dropped from her label before she even graduated high school. Like, let that sink in. She kept pushing though, signing with Warner Brothers Records and Rico Love's Division 1 to keep her music career alive, but it just never was the same. The mess. Alright, so let's get into this tea about Teairra Mari, JayZ and Beyonce, because it's messy. You know how people always say there's no such thing as a clean billionaire? They probably had to step on a few necks to get to the top, right? Well, JayZ and Beyonce's moves back in the early 2000s definitely make you side-eye them a little. So, boom, Teairra Mari was only 16 when she got signed to Def Jam by LA Reid. Her mentor, Big Mike from Kiss Productions, had been shopping her demo around, and the second LA heard her sing, he was sold. Even Def Jam's A&R executive Shakir Stewart was hyped. He literally said, Teairra was a star when she walked into the room. Like, she had that energy, y'all. She was young, gorgeous, and had this urban vibe that everyone thought was gonna make her the next big thing. When her debut single Make Her Feel Good dropped, it went crazy, and JayZ knew he had a goldmine. They crowned her the Princess of Rock, paraded her at public events, and JayZ was co-signing her left and right. Teairra was the girl to watch. Now, here's where it gets spicy. Rihanna shows up, ready to prove herself, but at first, nobody was really pressed about her like that. Sure, she had Pon de Replay, but Def Jam was all in on Teairra. Rihanna was basically on her own at first, while the label kept pushing Teairra as their star. But then Beyonce entered the chat. At an in-house showcase, Beyonce saw Rihanna perform, and casually told LA Reid, that girl's a beast, and y'all know anything Beyonce says holds weight. That one comment was all it took for Rihanna to get bumped to the front of the line. Now here's the kicker. Rihanna and Beyonce, they've never been tight. Like, think about it. They've never even done a song together. And while Rihanna was getting that Beyonce cosign, she was out here singing Bey's praises, calling her the blueprint for every artist. But let's be real, Rihanna probably knew that sudden attention from Def Jam wasn't random. She played it smart, but you know there's way more to this story. According to Teairra and plenty of theories swirling around, Beyonce might have played chess when it came to her career, but not everyone was a fan of her moves. Word is, Beyonce saw Teairra as a potential threat to her brand. Why? Because they had a similar sound and vibe, and Bey wasn't trying to compete with another rising star on her level. Teairra revealed that getting pushed forward at Def Jam was a blessing and a curse. She was riding high after her debut single blew up, but then came the rug pull. Sis got dropped from Rockefeller on her birthday. Can you imagine? She said she was literally mid-self-care routine when she got the call. And just like that, poof. She didn't tell anyone at first and admitted she felt crushed, but eventually, she picked herself up and signed a new deal with Warner Brothers. Now, here's where the plot thickens. Everyone back then was comparing Teairra to Beyonce, like, non-stop. They had similar music and performance styles, and even Def Jam leaned into it by giving Teairra Beyonce's parts in Destiny's Child's Lose My Breath during a showcase. Rolling Stone's Christian Horde even threw some subtle shade, saying JayZ seemed obsessed with Beyonce vibes and was basically trying to clone her with Teairra. Of course, that wasn't a narrative Beyonce wanted floating around, especially since she was still solidifying herself as a solo artist. At the time, people thought Rihanna was just a one-hit wonder, so Beyonce probably didn't expect Rihanna's name to start popping up in comparisons to hers too. Imagine the shock when not just one, but two young stars were being measured against the queen herself. It's giving Game of Thrones energy, but in the music industry. Teairra's story shows just how cutthroat things can get, especially when you're up against the reigning queen. And let's not forget that there were rumors flying back in the day that Rihanna and JayZ got a little too cozy back in the day. We all know the whispers about JayZ's, extracurricular activities. So, of course, people started side-eyeing Beyonce and Rihanna's dynamic, especially when the awkward vibes between them were spilling out in public.
Rihanna. Usher.
An insider even spilled about the Tidal press conference, saying that handlers were bending over backward to keep Bey and Riri apart. Imagine being in a room full of egos like Nicki Minaj, Madonna, and Kanye, and somehow Beyonce and Rihanna made it even more chaotic. They reportedly avoided each other like the plague, and the event was choreographed to keep them from crossing paths. But let's not lose sight of who really took the L in all this: Teairra Mari. She was out here preparing for her prom, lotioning her legs and dreaming big, only to get that devastating call. She'd been dropped from Rockefeller, and it wasn't just business, it was personal. Teairra had always seen JayZ as a father figure and Beyonce and Rihanna as family, so for them to ghost her like that, brutal. It was her first harsh lesson that loyalty doesn't exist in the music industry. Def Jam tried to shape her career. They marketed her as this edgy R&B artist with songs like No Daddy, but the audience wasn't here for a teenager singing about such grown topics. Rappers like Foxy Brown could get away with risque lyrics, but people weren't feeling it from a young R&B singer. When her song Sponsor dropped though, that was a bop. It was the anthem for gold diggers everywhere and had Gucci Mane and Soulja Boy. Like, come on, it should have been a smash hit. But mysteriously, major platforms like BET's 106 and Park refused to play it, even banning the video, claiming it was too detrimental to young women. When Sponsor didn't blow up, Teairra turned to love and hip-hop, hoping to reignite her music career. But let's be real, it didn't help her image. Instead of showcasing her talent, she was painted as an erratic troublemaker, and her music career never recovered. People still talk about how underrated she was, though. Fans haven't forgotten her debut album, and some even argue that Teairra had better vocals than Rihanna back in the day. But why did JayZ and Rockefeller drop her so quickly? Was it strictly business, or were there deeper, more calculated reasons behind it? Some think Beyonce and JayZ saw Rihanna as a safer bet for global stardom, while others wonder if Teairra's downfall was a mix of bad luck and poor industry politics. But Teairra wasn't the only one who messed around with JayZ and the music industry. Aaliyah's story is similar, although her outcome was more fatal. Aaliyah's story. Aaliyah's life, career, and tragic passing are a huge part of music history. Plus, the theories about JayZ's connection to her life and the wider industry drama. It's giving conspiracy tea. First off, Aaliyah Dana Houghton, born January 16, 1979 in Brooklyn, was a multi-talented queen. Singer, actress, model, dancer. She was literally that girl of the 90s and early 2000s. Her career started young, and she wasn't just coasting, she was giving excellence every step of the way. She dropped her debut album, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, at just 15. Yeah, the whole R. Kelly situation definitely adds a darker layer to her early career, but we can't ignore how her music still resonated. By her second album, One in a Million, she'd teamed up with Timbaland and Missy Elliott, and their sound, revolutionary. Aaliyah became the face of futuristic R&B. She wasn't just about music either. With roles in Romeo Must Die and the Matrix sequels, she was destined for cross-industry domination. Like, imagine what she could have achieved if her career wasn't cut short. JayZ and Aaliyah. Now, the JayZ angle? Whew, it's messy. Damon Dash, Aaliyah's boyfriend at the time of her death, spilled the tea that JayZ was really trying to get with her in the late 90s. Jay was 29, Aaliyah was 20, and according to Dash, Jay was going hard to win her over. But here's where things get weird. Despite his efforts, Aaliyah chose Dash instead.
You didn't want her to go, did you?
No. So she was shooting a video in Miami.
Yep.
And I had my son and my nephews with me. And you know, she was very supportive. She particularly liked Freeway, his voice. And she was supportive of everything I was doing. She was like, yo, while I'm in Miami, I had the state property down there, which was a group.
Yeah.
And she was gonna do a record with Freeway. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna come down there, I'll check you, I'll bring the kids, make a vacation, work, the whole nine. So when we got there, you know, Hype was making this video and I was like, I know Hype. I just got off of Big Pimpin' where I had to cut the video, you know what I mean? Because he likes to spend bread. So I was like, you know he's gonna make you do another day. Don't do it. Trust me, it's just so he can spend money, you know? And sure enough, she came home that day and I had a big house, I rented this house and she's like, I'm going to, you know, there. And I was like, I just thought that it wasn't necessary. You know, I knew that that was gonna happen. And then when she actually saw the plane, she, you know, we had the Blackberries and she said, I don't like this plane. And I was like, well, don't get on it. And she was like, well, I got to because I got work to do. She got on the plane and she always had a very serious fear of planes in general. So she had to overcome a fear to get on that plane on the way there. But what I was really more tight about was that I had heard that Lenny Kravitz had offered her a jet and that Hype had took the jet. So that's what really pissed me off about the situation when I heard about that. So you could ask Hype about that.
That's what I said. Have you ever talked to Hype about it?
Yeah.
And how did that conversation go?
Ask him.
Jay and Dash were Rockefeller partners, so imagine the awkward energy in that room. Some say JayZ was hurt, but publicly, he stayed quiet about the whole thing. Fans have speculated that Aaliyah's charm, talent, and independence made her a muse for Jay, and losing her to Dash could have been a driving force in the tension that later tore Rockefeller apart. Now let's dive into the real tea that sets the internet ablaze, the theory that JayZ was somehow involved in Aaliyah's tragic story, or at least benefited from her absence. Some fans speculate that Aaliyah's death, though officially an accident, might have been too convenient for certain power players in the industry. Aaliyah's star was on the rise, and her presence could have shifted the dynamic of music and even fashion in a way that might have challenged Beyonce, who was just stepping into her solo career around that time. While there's no solid proof of JayZ being involved in any foul play, the whispers about his connection to powerful industry figures and their influence make people wonder if her tragic end left more room for his and Beyonce's meteoric rise. Aaliyah's death in that plane crash on August 25, 2001, broke hearts worldwide. She was only 22, dating Damon Dash, and on the cusp of superstardom. The crash itself was due to an overloaded plane, a heartbreaking and preventable tragedy.
Like, that's what I don't understand. I'd be like, yo, people be like, why? Well, just that alone. There's a lot of other shit. But that alone was like the nail in the coffin for me. I was out of there. I was gone. Trust me. After that, I don't want to be nowhere near. I knew that shit was going to blow up. I didn't want no parts of that shit. Like, I was like, I don't want no parts. That's not good money. So I was done with him for that.
How did Jay respond when you confronted him about it?
You know how he is. He's like, yo, I ain't nothing to do with that.
But her impact didn't end there. To this day, fans and artists continue to celebrate her legacy, with her music finally hitting streaming platforms and younger generations discovering her brilliance. The theories about JayZ, Beyonce, and the industry only amplify the conversations about Aaliyah's potential and how the music world shifted after her passing. But that's not the end of it all. Beyonce and JayZ. Bringing it to right now, JayZ's name has been dragged into some heavy legal drama alongside Diddy. A recent lawsuit accuses Diddy of heinous acts, and JayZ is named as part of the circle of powerful men tied to these allegations. Even though JayZ's lawyer has fought to clear his name, the judge on the case denied the motion to dismiss him entirely. This is big because it challenges the narrative that JayZ has managed to stay clean in an industry full of scandals. And let's not forget, lawsuits like this often open Pandora's box. They're already dragging Diddy's name through the mud, and some wonder if more will come to light about JayZ's alleged role in protecting industry secrets. When you step back, the connections between Aaliyah, Teairra Mari, and these lawsuits hint at a pattern of control and power in the industry. The theory is this: JayZ's influence goes beyond music. He allegedly plays chess with people's careers, positioning them in ways that serve his long-term goals. Aaliyah's death. Some fans think it cleared the way for Beyonce to dominate as an R&B queen. Teairra Mari's stalled career, a sacrifice to bolster Rihanna's rise under Def Jam. And these recent lawsuits, a possible unraveling of the secrets powerful men in the industry have worked to keep hidden for decades. It's giving Illuminati-level conspiracy vibes, but when you look at the patterns, you can see why people keep asking questions. With this lawsuit heating up, more tea could spill. Will JayZ's name stay tied to these accusations, or will his legal team clear him completely? And are we finally going to get answers about these long-standing theories tying him to Aaliyah's untimely death and Teairra Mari's fall from grace? What do you think about Jay's connection? Do you think he is the mastermind behind all the drama in the music industry that he's accused of? Let us know your thoughts, and don't forget to check the next video too.